Ever wondered how to break free from the vicious cycle of Rolex waitlists? Today, I'm here to unravel the mystery for you. Quite frankly, it's a chicken and egg problem, right? We've all faced it. No purchase history, you can't get a Rolex. No Rolex, we can't build a purchase history. But no worries, because I've got a solution that will have you jumping the line in no time. Let's dive into it. But first, let me do a quick wrist check. I am absolutely in love with Steinhardt watches. I don't know what it is about them, but I can't stop wearing them. I know I promised a review about on these watches and on the Omega and all the other watches that I've got. I will get to that as soon as I can. But first, I want to get through the series of videos I'm doing about the Rolex waitlist. And before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's address the elephant in the room. The waitlist for Rolex watches is a loser's game. Why? Well, simply put, there are always people ahead of you with more purchase history. If you don't have any purchase history, it's nearly impossible to get your hands on that coveted timepiece. It's a frustrating catch-22 situation. By the way, before we really dive into it, I want to mention that I'm an ambassador for Watch Crunch, the ultimate destination for watch nerds like us. We're currently engaged in a lively discussion about gifting a Datejust, to a father-in-law. If you want to join the conversation, click on the link in the description below. Now, brace yourself for a bit of a shock. I recently had a conversation with a Rolex enthusiast who had spent a whopping $200,000 at an AD. Probably more. And guess what? He still found himself pushed down the list by other wealthy buyers. People who had spent even more money than him got priority. So I asked him, how did you get all your watches then? And he let me in on his secret. Before we really get into the details, I must warn you that there are requirements and potential downsides to this method. Yes, it allows you to jump the wait list, but there are considerations to keep in mind. We'll go over them near the end. Now, let me share with you the secret of our high-spending Rolex friend and what he revealed to me. The secret is the SP, which stands for Special Order. You see, authorized dealers are eager for commissions. By placing a special order, you're offering to put down a substantial deposit for the watch, sometimes around 50%. This demonstrates to the dealer that you're serious about the purchase. Now, here's the deal closer. Promise to complete the purchase with a cashier's check. ADs prefer this over credit cards. I've heard of more and more people turning down watches in this current economic downturn. That makes your special offer an attractive offer. So what's really happening when you place a special order? Essentially, the AD is sharing their allocation with you. Rolex permits them to place a certain number of special orders based on the model. Now keep in mind that high-demand sports models might still be challenging to acquire, even with a special order. It depends on whether the watch is already produced or needs to be manufactured. If the watch matches one already produced, you can expect delivery within months. Imagine that. However, if it needs to be produced, it might take months depending on the model and configurations and how often they produce it. For example, if it's a popular sports model like the Submariner or Daytona, the wait time could be several months or even a bit longer. So how do you start the process, right? You're excited about this new method, you want to try it out. How do you go about doing that? Well, you visit every AD in your area and mention that another AD is willing to put in a special order for you. This puts some pressure on them to take notice and potentially offer you a special order as well. Remember, not all ADs have the same policies, so it's worth exploring your options. Now, you're probably curious if I tried this method myself. Well, the answer is yes. And what happened? Well, I approached our good buddy Steve and asked him to put in a special order for me. And here's what happened. After some friendly chat, bang, I dropped the request. How about a special order? The moment Steve heard those words, he smiled and told me he likes special orders. Here's why he was thrilled. When you place a special order, that allocation is already reserved for you. It saves him the trouble of competing with other ADs to get a watch allocated to his customer. So if they have it in stock, you get it within weeks. However, there was a little snag at Steve's location. What a bummer. The location was South Coast Plaza in California. Unfortunately, it's one of the busiest spots for Rolex, and they had an overwhelming number of special orders. In fact, they had reached their limit and were no longer accepting them. But here's the key takeaway. The process works. Steve confirmed that, right? He confirmed that the allocation is marked for you. Rolex still allows certain ADs to place special orders. It's just that I chose a high traffic area, and that was a problem. I've heard through the grapevine that other ADs in lower traffic regions, like San Antonio, are still accepting special orders. So don't lose hope if you encounter a similar situation. There are alternatives out there. Now, I did mention that there are downsides and risks associated with this method. First and foremost, you're required to place a deposit, and it can be substantial. However, this shouldn't be an issue if you're committed to purchasing the watch. But here's a crucial tip. Ask the AD for a written receipt specifying the exact delivery deadline. If that date passes, you should be entitled to a refund. This protects you and gives the AD an extra incentive to deliver the watch on time. The other potential problem is encountering ADs with an excess of special orders. In such cases, you might want to try finding a smaller AD and see if they're open to placing a special order for you. Mention, that other ADs are offering the option and gauge the response. All right, that's a wrap for today's video. We've covered the secret of bypassing those pesky Rolex wait lists. Remember, it involves placing a special order with an authorized dealer, putting down a deposit, and being patient with the potential wait times. Keep exploring your options and finding ADs that are still accepting special orders. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video.